Okay, whenever people talk about weight or getting fit or even just diet, you always hear it, right? Metabolism. Someone's is fast, someone else's is slow. It often sounds like, you just get what you get, like it's pure luck.
Yeah, like it's set in stone from day one. And that's exactly the idea our source material pushes back against. We all sort of get the basic idea that's how our bodies turn food into energy.
Right.
But the real question, the one that matters, is why is there such a huge difference between people? I mean, one person might need, say, 1,500 calories just sitting around. Another needs 2,000.
Wow, yeah.
That's hundreds of calories difference every single day just based on how fast your body's engine is idling, essentially, at rest.
And that resting speed, that idle, that's what we're digging into today. Our mission here is to really unpack the source material, get behind the labels, and give you a clear, science-based look at metabolic rate. We want to go beyond just saying, oh, it's genetics, and explore what actually influences it, and crucially, what actionable things you can actually do to, well, optimize it. Okay, let's unpack this.
So first off, when we throw around terms like fast or slow metabolism, we're mostly talking about basal metabolic rate. BMR.
BMR, okay.
Yeah, that's the baseline energy your body burns just to exist. Lying perfectly still, it's the energy for breathing, your heart beating, brain working, all that basic stuff.
So BMR is measured at rest. That's the key differentiator then, isn't it? Before we even factor in moving around or exercise, it's just the cost of keeping the lights on.
Exactly, precisely. So a fast metabolism, which means a high BMR, that individual just burns calories quicker, even when they're literally doing nothing.
Right.
Their body just demands more energy for those fundamental processes. And that gives them a kind of metabolic advantage, makes it easier to manage weight, even if they're not necessarily more active than someone else.
Okay, so that's the fast side. What about the slow metabolism?
Well, conversely, a slow metabolism or a low BMR means the body is super efficient. It's really good at conserving energy.
Almost too good.
Exactly. It needs fewer calories to run those same basic functions. You could see it as like an expert mode in energy saving, which sounds great biologically speaking.
But maybe not so great when food is everywhere.
Precisely.
Yeah.
In today's world, it makes maintaining weight trickier because that super efficient body just has a lower daily calorie budget to work with, even for the same basic upkeep.
What's fascinating here is the sources really highlight how wide that BMR range can be. It's not just a few calories here or there.
No, not at all.
We could be talking hundreds of calories a day difference between two people who look pretty similar, same height, same weight even.
Significant.
So if genetics kind of sets the stage, what are the main players actually driving these big differences?
Yeah, and that's where it gets really interesting because it moves us away from just thinking it's all predetermined genetics. There are factors here we can actually influence quite a lot, actually, when you look at what contributes to a high or fast metabolism. Yes, genetics plays a part. Some folks are just dealt a slightly faster metabolic hand.
Okay.
But the other two big drivers, they're things we can work on. First and foremost, muscle mass. This is like the metabolic superstar. Muscle tissue is just metabolically active. It burns a lot more energy at rest compared to fat tissue.
So even when you're sleeping?
Oh yeah, even sleeping. Muscle cells are constantly turning over, repairing, using energy ATP. They are serious energy hogs, demanding fuel 204/7.
It's like having more muscle just raises your body's basic energy bill constantly. And the sources really emphasize this, don't they? It's not just about burning calories during a workout.
No.
It's about needing more energy just to be.
That's it, exactly. And the other major factor is just consistent physical activity. Being active regularly boosts your overall energy burn. And crucially, it's often what builds and maintains that vital muscle mass. It tells your body to stay in a higher state of energy readiness.
Okay, so muscle and activity for a faster rate. Now, what about the other end? What contributes to a lower or slower metabolism?
Well, genetics, again, it sets a baseline. But the really impactful factors, especially the ones we see change over time, often relate to aging.
Right, the dreaded age-related slowdown.
Yes, aging is definitely a factor. Metabolism generally does tend to decrease as we get older, but, and this is critical, the sources are clear that it's not just the number of birthdays.
It's linked to something else.
It's very strongly linked to muscle loss or sarcopenia. This loss of muscle tends to happen naturally with age, but it speeds up significantly if we become inactive.
Okay. So since muscle is the big energy burner.
Exactly. Lose the muscle and your body's base energy needs just drop significantly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that interplay between aging and muscle loss, That's our biggest window of opportunity.
How so?
Because the sources really stress that actively fighting that muscle loss, mainly through activity, is much more effective than just accepting the age-related slowdown as inevitable. It's the most powerful lever we have.
Got it.
Also, we should mention things like hormonal issues. Hypothyroidism is a common one, or certain medical conditions can definitely slow metabolism down too. So if there's a sudden unexplained change, getting checked out medically is important.
So the decline isn't just fate. It's often a consequence of losing that metabolically active muscle tissue due to inactivity. That's actually quite empowering.
It really is.
It shifts the focus from wishing for different genes to optimizing the body we actually have. Here's where it gets really interesting. Because the sources don't just stop at identifying the problem, the slowdown. They give really specific, actionable recommendations.
Yeah, these aren't just vague, eat well, move more tips. They're 5 targeted areas with direct metabolic benefits. The first one, building directly on what we just discussed, is physical activity, but specifically strength training.
Not just any activity.
Not just any activity. The sources really prioritize building and maintaining muscle through resistance work. Why? Because of that direct link between muscle mass and BMR we talked about.
Right, the energy hogs.
Exactly. If muscle burns calories at rest, strength training is the most direct way to increase your muscle mass. Cardio is great, burns calories right then and there, but strength training is like a long-term investment in your metabolic rate, paying off around the clock.
That's a really important distinction. I often think cardio first for burning calories, but this frames strength training as fundamental for the baseline burn. Okay, what about fuel? Diet. That's the second point. Eating a balanced diet with the appropriate number of calories is key, naturally. But the sources also highlight something specific. The thermic effect of food, or TEF.
TT, what's up? It's basically the energy your body uses just to digest, absorb, and process the nutrients in your food. And here's the kicker. Different macronutrients have different TEF values.
So some foods take more energy to process than others.
Precisely. Fats and carbs are relatively easy for the body to handle, maybe costing 5 to 15% of their own calories to process. But protein is a different beast entirely.
How so?
Protein requires a whopping 20 to 30% of its own calorie content just for digestion and processing.
Wow, that's huge.
It is. So by making sure you get enough protein, you're essentially increasing your daily calorie burn just through the act of digesting your food. It's a built-in metabolic boost.
That's a fantastic practical tip. Protein basically taxes itself calorically. Okay, protein and strength training. What else influences those internal chemical reactions?
That leads us to number 3, hydration. Simple but crucial. Water is involved in pretty much every metabolic process. Think of them as chemical reactions needing a medium.
Like oil in an engine.
Kind of, yeah. Even being just mildly dehydrated can make those metabolic enzymes sluggish, slowing down energy production and use. Staying hydrated keeps the whole system running smoothly.
Makes sense. Often overlooked. What about factors outside of diet and exercise?
Absolutely critical ones. Number 4 is sleep quality. Getting enough good sleep is non-negotiable for metabolic health.
Why specifically for metabolism?
Because poor sleep throws your hormones completely out of whack. Specifically, ghrelin and leptin, the hunger and fullness hormones.
Oh, okay.
When you're sleep deprived, ghrelin, which tells you you're hungry, goes up. Leptin, which tells you you're full, goes down.
Oh, that's a double whammy.
Exactly. You feel hungrier and less satisfied, which obviously encourages overeating. Plus, the hormonal imbalance itself can directly slow down metabolic signaling.
I knew sleep was important, but seeing that direct hormonal link to appetite regulation really drives it home. It's like fighting your own body chemistry when you're tired.
Yeah.
And the last point is also hormonal, isn't it?
It is. Number 5 is stress management. Chronic, ongoing stress keeps your cortisol levels high.
The stress hormone.
Right. And the sources show that constantly high cortisol basically tells your body it's in survival mode. Metabolically, that means holding on to energy, particularly encouraging fat storage, especially that harmful visceral fat around the organs.
And that impacts energy use, too.
Yes. It can also lead to insulin resistance, making it harder for your body to use sugar for energy efficiently. It's a really damaging cycle. Stress makes metabolism sluggish and changes where you store fat. So finding ways to manage stress, mindfulness, exercise, even just scheduling real downtime is a direct metabolic intervention.
Okay, so what does this all mean? Let's try and synthesize this. The big takeaway seems to be that the idea of your metabolism being this fixed, unchangeable number you're born with, it's mostly not true.
Right. Genetics, that's a baseline, sure.
But it's a dynamic system. And the range for optimization, the part we can control, is actually huge. Things like actively maintaining muscle with strength training, paying attention to protein intake for that teeth boost, prioritizing good sleep to keep hormones balanced, and managing chronic stress. These are incredible, powerful levers.
Absolutely. We really need to shift the mindset away from just wishing for a fast metabolism, like it's some kind of lottery win, and focus instead on managing the inputs we actually do control. The sources make it really clear. Your day-to-day energy expenditure, your metabolic rate, is significantly shaped by conscious choices about activity, rest, fuel, and stress. That puts the power back in your hands.
Yes, that's the empowering part. So here's a final thought to leave you with, building on all this.
Yeah.
If we know metabolism tends to slow with age, largely because inactivity leads to muscle loss, which further slows metabolism, then how absolutely critical does prioritizing strength training become? Not just for looking a certain way or for athletic goals, but simply to maintain your fundamental metabolic health, your body's basic operational efficiency, and ultimately your quality of life as you get older.
It really reframes strength training as essential maintenance, doesn't it?
Definitely something to mull over.